my name is Timothy Patrick O'Hara. Today is April 4th, 2024, or maybe the 5th. I don't know. 2026, Anno Domini. 2024 was, I'm coming up on almost a 2-year mark of when I accepted the Trinity, because I thought that was the last thing I needed to do to be a Christian, and I knew God made everything perfect, so why would I doubt? And very beautiful. But now I'm thinking about, I got less than 3,600 seconds of thoughts before I get to go to work on time, Lord willing. So I don't want to rush, but I do want to go quickly and productively, and in a fun way. Thank God, the number one commandment God gives us, Jesus gives us, and so God gives us through Jesus, is to love Him with all of our heart, all of our soul, all of our mind, all of our strength, and to love our neighbor as ourself. And I'm so glad I got at Marge's Nook in the Adirondacks this little magnet for the fridge, and I think I'm gonna have this as the video title. Maybe I'll take a better picture of it, or just a screenshot of it. It says, "I love you more today than yesterday, and only half as much as tomorrow." So of course it's not logical, but it's beautiful in the sense that, of course, God has an infinite more amount of love to give us, and He wants to give it to us, and I think that's how He loves us. But I pray peacefully, joyfully. That's how we love everybody around us. I actually, so starting with ourselves, right? When we make a mistake, it's meant to be so we could grow and learn. I absolutely love Numbers 11:29 that I read yesterday. But Moses said to him, "Are you wrought on my account? Would that all Yahweh's people were prophets, were seers, that Yahweh put His Spirit upon them?" I think that's exactly what Jesus, His mission on earth was and is, through us, by the grace of God. Our Father opening our eyes up to Jesus. The beautiful reality of whatever you do to the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you do it to me. So, number 16. First, real quick, I want to thank, again, Liam. I was just thinking about him today when I was doing my daily scripture reading at Word of Life. How he said he's praying for me and my girlfriend in my scripture reading, and it gave me the most beautiful, perfect piece of exactly what I need to hear. And I'm praying for him too in his scripture reading. And I met Glenn today, wonderful guy. I forget, it was like 2 Corinthians, I want to say 7:14. I looked it up again. I don't think it is, but some verse in 2 Corinthians that says that every day we're renewed, like the new man inside of us is renewed, and the old man is dying away, because we're just dust, right? We came from dust. We are dust, and we're returning to dust. But thank God for Glenn. So to remember his name, I thought of G is 7, blessed are the peacemakers. E is 5, so that's 12. And then N is 14, so that's 28 with 2 N's. So that's 40, right? And then I'm going through in my head, trying to remember his name in a joyful, uplifting one, wonderful, fun way. And then I run into Luke. He's walking up to work on his car, and we start chatting. And he mentions his name is Luke, so of course, easy memory. It's the third gospel. But then I started thinking, okay, L is 12, U is 21, or the numerical value, and then K is 11, so that's 44. and then E is 5, so it's 49. So it's the same equivalent numerical value to Lord, to our Adonai, how we, in English, write out our Father's name. So it's a really cool, wonderful coincidence, but it's not, because it's all, of course, perfectly organized, and it's a fun way to remember. So next time I see him, I can say that. Of course, I'm sure no one who in the world thinks about the equivalent value of numbers, but it was because I was incredibly blessed to start going to a class learning Hebrew and understand that, wow, the Hebrew letters are the same as the Hebrew numbers. So cool. From what I know, the Aleph is one. It's had its first sign. Now, Korah, son of Izhar, son of Kahath, son of Levi, betook himself along with Dathan and Abiram, sons of Elab, and son of Peleth, descendants of Reuben, to rise up against Moses, together with 250 Israelites, chieftains of the community, chosen in the assembly, men of repute. Don't know what that means. They combined against Moses and Aaron, and say to them, "You have gone too far, for all the community are holy, all of them, and Yahweh is in their midst. Why then do you raise yourselves above Yahweh's congregation?" Moses heard this. He fell on his face. He spoke to Korah and all his company, saying, "Come, morning, Yahweh will make known who is his and who is holy, and will grant him access to himself. He will grant access to the one he has chosen. Do this, you Korah, and all your band. Take fire pans, and tomorrow put fire in them and lay incense on them before Yahweh. Then the man whom Yahweh chooses, he shall be holy. You have gone too far, sons of Levi." Moses said further to Korah, "Hear me, sons of Levi. It is not enough for you that Elohim of Israel, God of Israel, has set you apart from the community of Israel and given you access to him, to perform the duties of Yahweh's tabernacle, and to minister to the community and serve them. Now that he has advanced you and all your fellow Levites with you, do you seek the priesthood too? Truly it is against Yahweh that you and all your company have band together. For who is Aaron that you should rail against him?" Why? Moses sent for Dathan and Abiram, sons of Elab, but they said, "We will not come. Is it not enough that you brought us from a land flowing with milk and honey to have us die in the wilderness, that you would also, Lord, it over us? Even if you had brought us to a land flowing with milk and honey and given us possessions of fields and vineyards, should you gouge out those men's eyes? We will not come, Moses. We will not come." Moses was much aggrieved. I wanted to say aggravated, but aggrieved. I'm aggravated because I can't read words and spell very much because my mind's in multiple different places at once. Moses was aggrieved, and he said to Yahweh, "Pay no regard to their oblation. I have not taken the ass of any one of them, nor have I wrought any one of them." And Moses said to Korah, "Tomorrow you and all your company appear before Yahweh, you and they and Aaron. Each of you take his fire pan and lay incense on it, and each of you bring his fire pan before Yahweh. 250 fire pans. You and Aaron also brought your fire pans." Each of them took his fire pan, put fire in it, and laid incense on it, and took his place at the entrance of the tent of meeting, as did Moses and Aaron. Korah gathered the whole community against them at the entrance of the tent of meeting. Then the presence of Yahweh appeared to the whole community, and Yahweh spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, stand back from this community, that I may annihilate them in an instant. But they fell on their faces and said, O Elohim, source of breath of all flesh. When one man sins, makes mistakes, will you be wrathful with the whole community? Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the community and say, withdraw from about the abode of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Moses rose and went to Dathan and Abiram, the elders of Israel following him. He addressed the community, saying, move away from the tent of these wicked men, and touch nothing that belongs to them, lest you be wiped out for all their mistakes, their sins. So they withdrew from about the abodes of Korah and Dathan and Abiram. Now Dathan and Abiram had come out, and they stood at the entrance of their tents, with their wives and their children and their little ones. And Moses said, by this you shall know that it was Yahweh who sent me to do all these things, that they are not of my own devising. If these men die, as all men do, if their lot be the common fate of all mankind, it is not Yahweh who sent me. But if Yahweh brings about something unheard of, so that the ground opens its mouth and swallows them up with all that belongs to them, and they go down into Sheol, into hell, you shall know these men have spurned Yahweh. Scarcely had he finished speaking all these words, when the ground under them burst asunder, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with their households, all Korah's people and their possessions. They went down alive into hell, into Sheol, with all that belonged to them. The earth closed over them, and they vanished from the midst of the congregation. All Israel around them fled at their shrinks, for they said, the earth might swallow us. A fire went forth from Yahweh and consumed the 250 men offering the incense. Wow. Consumed the 250 men offering the incense. Wow, okay. So, this is the beauty of my mind. Thank God I'm looking at kids playing on a playground, and get to open up my mind a little bit more of, you don't have to be so rigid and stand so perfectly straight. I mean, make the most of it and don't overthink. But it's so beautiful how this is such a scary story, and it is. You hear it's like, whoa, okay, don't mess with God at all. But of course, at the same time, I believe that He loves both people in the story equally, and it is perfectly meant to be, so we can all grow and learn in the best way every day. And I think these people are glad that God chose the story to be in there, that they had the perfect life, because God's going to perfectly use it to help everyone forever. That's what this experience of life. I'm praying, I'm not even thinking about it, but I'm wanting to believe, and I know that everyone's praying all the time. Whatever you're paying attention to, that's what you're praying about. And so I don't want to waste too much time thinking about my breath, knowing that God created everything perfectly is so wonderful. And now everything's all about this moment. Forever. Learning from the past, growing into the future in the best possible way, knowing Jesus is with us, baptizing us with the Holy Spirit and with fire. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, order Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, to remove the fire pans, for they have become sacred. I want to say scarred, because that's my mind from all my poor failures, but they're perfectly meant to be. From among the charred remains, and scatter the coals abroad. Remove the fire pans of those who had sinned, made mistake at the cost of their lives, and let them be made into hammered sheets as planning for the altar. For once they had been used for offering to Yahweh, they have become sacred, and let them serve as a warning to the people of Israel. Eleazar, the priest, took the copper fire pans which had been used for offering, but those who died in the fire, and they were hammered into plating for the altar, as Yahweh had ordered him through Moses. It was to be a reminder to the Israelites, so that no outsider, not of Aaron's offspring, should presume to offer incense before Yahweh and suffer the fate of Korach and his band. Next day, the whole Israelite community railed against Moses and Aaron, saying, "You two have brought death upon Yahweh's people." But as the community gathered against them, Moses and Aaron turned toward the tent of meeting. The cloud had covered it, and the presence of Yahweh appeared. When Moses and Aaron reached the tent of meeting, Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Remove yourselves from this community, that I may annihilate them in an instant." Jeez Louise. They fell on their faces. Then Moses said to Aaron, "Take the fire pan and put on it fire from the altar. Add incense and take it quickly to the community and make expiation payment, I believe, for them. For wrath has gone forth from Yahweh. The plague has begun." Aaron took it, and Moses had ordered, and ran to the midst of the congregation where the plague had begun among the people. He put on the incense and made expiation for the people. He stood between the dead and the living until the plague was checked. Those who died of the plague had come to 14,700, aside from those who died on account of Korah. Aaron then returned to Moses at the entrance of the tent of meeting, since the plague was checked. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the Israelite people and take from them, from the chieftains of their ancestral houses, one staff of each chieftain of an ancestral house, 12 staffs in all. Inscribe each man's name on his staff, there being one staff for each head of an ancestral house. Also ascribe Aaron's name on the staff of Levi. Deposit them in the tent of meeting before the pact, where I meet with you. The staff of the man whom I choose shall sprout, and I will rid myself of the innocent muttering of the Israelites against me. Sorry, incessant. That was just me hoping, but the staff of the man whom I choose shall sprout. Obviously, thank God, I think He chooses perfect timing to accept Christ in the perfect way every day. He gives us the perfect faith, right? The staff of the man whom I choose shall sprout, and I will rid myself of the incessant muttering of the Israelites against you. Moses spoke thus to the Israelites. Their chieftains gave him a staff for each chieftain of an ancestral house, 12 staffs in all. Among these staffs was that of Aaron. Moses deposited the staffs before Yahweh in the tent of the pact. The next day Moses entered the tent of the pact, and their staff Moses deposited, sounds like paying for it. I don't know if there's another meaning to deposited. The staffs before Yahweh in the tent of the pact. The next day Moses entered the tent of the pact, and there the staff of Aaron of the house of Levi had sprouted. It had brought forth sprouts, produced blossoms, and borne almonds. Moses then brought out all the staffs from before Yahweh to all the Israelites. Each identified and recovered his staff. Yahweh said to Moses, "Put Aaron's staff back before the pact, to be kept as a lesson to rebels, so that their mutterings against me may cease, lest they die." This Moses did, just as Yahweh had commanded him. So he did. But the Israelites said to Moses, "Lo, we perish. We are lost, all of us lost. Everyone who so much as ventures near Yahweh's tabernacle must die. Alas, we are doomed to perish." Where are we at? Numbers 18. Yahweh said to Aaron, "You and your sons and ancestral house under your charge shall bear any guilt connected with the ancestry. You and your sons alone shall bear. Yahweh said to Aaron, "You and your sons and ancestral house under your charge shall bear any guilt connected with the ancestry. You and your sons alone shall bear any guilt connected with your priesthood." You shall also associate with yourself your kinsmen, the tribe of Levi, your ancestral tribe, to be attached to you and to minister to you. While you and your sons under your charge are before the tent of the pact, they shall discharge their duties to you and to the tent as a whole. But they must not have any contact with the furnishings of the shrine or with the altar, lest both they and you die. They shall be attached to you at a discharge the duties of the tent of meeting, all the service of the tent. But no one outside shall intrude upon you as you discharge the duties connected with the shrine and the altar, that wrath may not again strike the Israelites. I hereby take your fellow Levites from among the Israelites. They are assigned to you in dedication to Yahweh, to do the work of the tent of meeting, while you and your sons shall be careful to perform your priestly duties in everything pertaining to the altar and to what is behind the curtain. I make your priesthood a service of dedication. Any outsider who encroaches shall be put to death. Yahweh spoke further to Aaron, I hereby give you charge of my gifts, all the sacred denotions of the Israelites. I grant them to you and to your sons as a prerequisite, a duty for all time. This shall be yours from the most holy sacrifices, the offerings by fire. Every such offering that they rendered to me as most holy sacrifices, namely every meal offering, sin offering, and guilt offering of theirs, shall belong to you and to your sons. You shall partake of them as a most sacred donations. Yeah. I'm dumb. It's okay. It's a blessing. How in the world can you rejoice always? You shall partake of them as the most sacred donations. Only males may eat them. You shall treat them as consecrated. This too shall be yours. The gift offerings of their contributions, all the elevation offerings of the Israelites, I give to you, to your sons, and to the daughters that are with you, as a due for all time. every one of your household who is clean may eat it. They're having so much fun over there playing on the playground. I had a lot of fun yesterday with the sun setting, shooting some hoops. Missing a lot, but just thinking, of course, yeah, it's meant to be. I get to grow and learn. All the best of the new oil, wine, and grain. The choice parts that they present to Yahweh, I give to you. The first fruits of everything in their land that they bring to Yahweh shall be yours. Every one of your household who is clean may eat it. Everyone that has been proscribed in Israel shall be yours. The first issue of the womb of every being, man or beast, that is offered to Yahweh. Oh yeah, because the firstborn, they're offering service to Yahweh, I believe. Or just like, respectfully, I don't know the tradition, but everyone that has been proscribed in Israel shall be yours. The first issue of the womb of every being, man or beast, that is offered to Yahweh shall be yours. But you shall have the firstborn of man redeemed, and you shall also have the firstlings of the unclean animals redeemed. Take as their redemption price from the age of 1 month up the money equivalent of 5 shekels by the sanctuary rate, which is 20 gerahs. But the firstlings of the cattle, sheep or goats, may not be redeemed. They are consecrated. You shall dash their blood against the altar and turn their fat into smoke as an offering by fire, for a pleasing odor to Yahweh. But their meat shall be yours. It shall be yours like the breast of elevation offering and like the right thigh. All the sacred gifts that the Israelites set aside for Yahweh, I give to you, to your sons, to the daughters that are with you, as a due for all time. It shall be an elevating covenant of salts. You are the salt of the earth. Before Yahweh, for you and for your offspring as well. As Yahweh said to Aaron, you shall, however, have no territorial share among, see, super selfish, no, but just perfect amount of balance, how everyone has everything perfectly, which I believe is God giving everyone everything for eternity. Which he says, in the same way that Father sent me, I sent you into the world. He said, all things that the Father has are mine. That's why I said the Spirit will receive from me what he will make known unto you. So that's where it's like, wait a second, you don't have to rush to get things done. You get to freely love and bring our best to God, every breath, every thought, every feeling. That's 3 in 1 right there. All sacred gifts that the Israelites set aside for Yahweh, I give to you, to your sons, to the daughters that are with you, as a due for all time. It shall be an everlasting covenant of salt before Yahweh, for you and for your offspring as well. As Yahweh said to Aaron, you shall, however, have no territorial share among them, or any portion in their midst. I am your portion, and you shall, and your share among the Israelites. To the Levites I hereby give all the tithes in Israel as their share in return for the service that they perform. The services of the tent of meeting. Henceforth, Israelites, shall not trespass on the tent of meeting, and thus incur guilt and die. Only Levites shall perform the services of the tent of meeting. Others would incur guilt. It is the law for all time throughout the ages, but they shall have no territorial share among the Israelites. For it is the tithe set aside by the Israelites as a gift to Yahweh that I give to the Levites as their share. Therefore, I have said concerning them, they shall have no territorial share among the Israelites. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the Levites and say to them, when you receive from the Israelites their tithes, which I have assigned to you and to your share, you shall set aside from them 1 tithe of the tithe as a gift to Yahweh. This shall be accounted to you as your gift as with the new grain from the threshing floor of or the flour from the vat. Sorry, I'm a little agitated for a moment because I'm trying to rush. So shall you on your part set aside a gift for Yahweh from all the tithes that you receive from the Israelites, and from them you shall bring the gift for Yahweh to Aaron the priest. You shall set aside all gifts due to Yahweh from everything that is donated to you, from each thing its best portion, the part thereof that is to be consecrated. So to them further, when you have removed the best part from it, the Levites may consider it the same as the yield of threshing floor or vats. You and your households may eat it anywhere, for it is your recompense for your service in the tent of meeting. You will incur no guilt through it once you have removed the best part. But you must not profane the sacred donations of the Israelites, lest you die. Yahweh spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, This is the ritual law to Yahweh that Yahweh has commanded. Instruct the Israelite people to bring you a red cow without blemish, in which there is no defect, and on which no yoke has been laid. You shall give it to Eleazar, the priest. It shall be taken outside the camp and slaughtered in his presence. Eleazar, the priest, shall take some of its blood with his finger and sprinkle it 7 times on the toward the front of the tent of meeting. The cow shall be burned in his sight. Its hide, flesh, and blood shall be burned, its dong included. The priest shall take cedar wood, hyssop, and crimson stuff, and throw them into the fire, consuming the cow. The priest shall wash his garments and bathe his body in water. After that, the priest may re-enter the camp, but he shall be unclean until evening. He who performed the burning shall also wash his garments in water, bathe his body in water, and be unclean until evening. A man who is clean shall gather up the ashes of the cow and deposit them outside the camp in a clean place to be kept for water of lustration for the Israelite community. It is for cleansing. He who gathers up the ashes of the cow shall also wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. This shall be a permanent law for the Israelites and for the strangers who reside among you. He who touches the corpse of any human being shall be unclean for 7 days. He shall cleanse himself with it on the 3rd day and on the 7th day, and then be clean. If he fails to cleanse himself on the 3rd and the 7th day, he shall not be clean. Whoever touches a corpse, the body of a person who has died, and does not cleanse himself, defiles Yahweh's tabernacle. That person shall be cut off from Israel. Since the water of lustration has not dashed on him, he remains unclean. His uncleanliness is still upon him. This is the ritual. When a person dies in a tent, whoever enters the tent and whoever is in the tent shall be unclean 7 days. And every open vessel with no lid fastened down shall be unclean. And in the open, anyone who touches a person who was killed or who died naturally, or human bone or grave, shall be unclean 7 days. Some of the ashes from the fire of cleansing shall be taken for the unclean person. A fresh water shall be added to them in a vessel. A person who is clean shall take hyssop, dip it in the water, and sprinkle on the tent and on the vessels the people who were there, or on him who touched the bones, or the person who is killed or died naturally of the grave. The clean person shall sprinkle it upon the unclean person on the 3rd day. And on the 7th day, thus cleansing him by the 7th day. He shall then wash his clothes, bathe in water, and at nightfall he shall be clean. If anyone who has become unclean vows to cleanse himself, that person shall be cut off from the congregation, for he has defiled Yahweh's sanctuary. The water of lustration was not dashed on him. He is unclean. That shall be for them a law for all time. Further, he who sprinkled the water of lustration shall wash his clothes, and whoever touches the water of lustration shall be unclean until evening. Whatever that unclean person touches shall be unclean, and the person who touches him shall be unclean until evening. Numbers 20. The Israelites arrived in a body at the wilderness of Zin on the first new moon. The people stayed at Kadesh. Miriam died there and was buried there. The community was without water, and they joined against Moses and Aaron. The people quarreled with Moses, saying, if we had perished when our brothers perished in the instance of Yahweh, at the instance of Yahweh, why have you brought Yahweh's congregation into the wilderness for us and our beasts to die there? Why did you make us leave Egypt to bring us to this wretched place, a place with no grain, or figs, or vines, or pomegranates? There is not even water to drink. Moses and Aaron came away from the congregation to the entrance of the tent of meeting and fell on their faces. Moses and Aaron came, both Moses and Aaron came from the congregation to the entrance of the tent of meeting and fell on their faces. The presence of Yahweh appeared to them, and Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, you and your brother Aaron take the rod and assemble the community, and before their very eyes order the rock to yield its water. Thus you shall produce water for them from the rock and provide drink for the congregation and their beasts. Moses took the rod from before Yahweh as he had commanded him. Moses and Aaron assembled the congregation in front of the rock, and he said to them, listen, you rebels, shall we get water for you out of this rock? And Moses raised his hand and struck the rock twice with his rod. Out came copious water, and the community and their beasts drank. But Yahweh said to Moses and Aaron, because you did not trust me enough to affirm my sanctuary in the sight of the Israelite people, therefore you shall not lead this congregation into the land that I have given them. Those are the waters of Meribah, meaning that the Israelites quarreled with Yahweh, through which he affirmed his sanctuary. From Kadesh, Moses sent messengers to the king of Edom. Thus says your brother Israel, you know all the hardships that have befallen us, that our ancestors went down to Egypt, that we dwelt in Egypt a long time, and that the Egyptians dealt harshly with us and our ancestors. We cried to Yahweh, and he heard our plea, and he sent a messenger who freed us from Egypt. Now we are in Kadesh, the town on the border of your territory. Allow us then to cross your country. We will not pass through fields or vineyards, and we will not drink water from wells. We will follow the king's highway, turning off neither to the right nor to the left until we have crossed your territory. But Edom answered him, you shall not pass through us, else we will go out against you with the sword. We will keep to the beaten track, the Israelites said to them. And if we, our cattle, drink your water, we will pay for it. We ask only for passage on foot. It is but a small matter. But they replied, "You shall not pass through." And Edom went out against them in heavy force, strongly armed. So Edom would not let Israel cross their territory. And Israel turned away from them. Setting out from Kadesh, the Israelites arrived in a body at Mount Hor. At Mount Hor, on the boundary of the land of Edom, Yahweh said to Moses and Aaron, "Let Aaron be gathered to his kin. He is not to enter the land that I have assigned to the Israelite people, because you disobeyed my command about the waters of Meribah. Take Aaron and his son Eleazar and bring them up on Mount Hor. Strip Aaron of his vestments and put them on his son Eleazar. There Aaron shall be gathered into the dead." Wow. Moses did as Yahweh commanded. They ascended Mount Hor in the sight of the whole community. Moses stripped Aaron of his vestments and put them on his son Eleazar, and Aaron died there on the summit of the mountain. When Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain, the whole community knew that Aaron had breathed his last. All the house of Israel bewailed Aaron 30 days. For a little less than 1,200 seconds to get to work, 20 minutes. Birds chirping are so nice. It's also very nice, good to them. A little jealous of how much fun the kids are having playing in the mud, playing in the playground. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Love you.